Welcome to the next episode of the Belvr podcast. I have my guy Mike with me today. I just kind of want you to tell kind of what your story is, kind of what your journey has been from when you were younger till now.
Okay, so obviously we met probably around the time you were in high school. At that point, I was already kind of just finishing up college. I had kind of set out since I was 5 or 6 years old that I was going to be a professional basketball player. Obviously, everybody aims to be in the NBA. 6'1", it's kind of like, you really got to be at that elite level to get there. So, we both understand kind of the battle that takes. But I don't know, I was one of those like very driven, determined, my mom would tell you stubborn individuals where I was just like, no, this is what I'm doing. I could tell you from, if I were to compare like my high school days to yours, I'd be trash. So that's why I kept telling y'all back when I was like watching y'all come up through high school. I'm like, y'all got plenty of time, stay in the gym, focus on what you can focus on like, control the controllable, basically, not to be, too cliche, but it's just like, it's one of those things where you kind of look at the career path that it takes to actually be a pro. And a lot of people don't understand, it's literally just stepping stones. If you stay in the gym, if you commit yourself and you actually just like really go at it, you'd be surprised what 1 year to 1 year can do for you. But, a lot of people let all that outside stuff get in, the noise from family, friends, whatever. I was just, like I said, I still did some of the stupid stuff that you're really not supposed to growing up. But like, at a certain point, shout out to Champ Barlow, but he basically was the one who kind of opened my eyes to it. Was like, look, if you get in here every day and it's about consistency, so like whatever you're doing, treat it like you're a professional already. Go at it with that same grind. And that really wasn't until like my junior, senior year in college, that I really started getting in there with Champ and like just completely developed like everything about my game. Took me from just a regular old shooter to like I could actually handle the ball a little bit better. Was always really good at just being able to run the full game. So like that was always kind of like, I'd say my superpower was like, I'm gonna outrun you. I don't care how long you think you're gonna guard me. Like we're gonna go for a little marathon here. And like I said, shout out to Champ, because like he really helped me develop like a lot and become a more well-rounded point guard. Because for some reason at every level, my coaches wanted to put me at the 2, and I was like, I can't proceed to be a 2 at the next level. If I want to go be a pro, they're going to be like 6'6", 6'7". And I really had to start developing the ball handling. Really got through college at Houston Baptist University. Thank them every day. Sarah hears sometimes in my prayers where like I'll just be thanking Coach Judd, thanking Coach Case, Coach Cottrell, Coach Key, all of them for like really just looking out for me, because like I said, I wasn't your prototypical Division I player. I really wasn't. I somehow, by the grace of God, got picked up to go play there, got an opportunity to go play at that level that I really was just like, again, my mom would tell you I'm stubborn, because like I was literally answering phone calls from D2s and D3s that wanted me to come play there, and they were like offering scholarships and money and stuff, and I was just like, no, I'm going Division I. And I would legitimately like, I wouldn't like hang up on them disrespectfully, but I was just like, no, I'm going to go play Division I. Thank you, but I appreciate it, but I'm going to go play. And my mom was just like, what are you doing? Like, why are you doing this to us? But yeah, I mean, it all worked out in the end. Unfortunately, my sophomore year at HBU, my dad got sick with cancer. So I ended up moving home. Actually, the end of my junior year, I ended up moving home because he beat it first and then it came back stage 4. So like I kind of made that shift to go back home, help out the family around the Atlanta area, and pretty much took a year off. I really didn't know I was going to finish school at that point. I was just like, I don't know how to get back in here. Thankfully, Oglethorpe helped me out with getting back in, finishing up my schooling, finishing up my last year of basketball. Broke an NCAA record. I don't know if I still hold it or not. I haven't kept up with it, but most 3-pointers made in a game, most field goals made in a game without miss. And yeah, I mean, from there it was just kind of like I tried playing semi-pro a few different areas around Georgia, put together some tapes. Thank you, Jay Mixtape. He's basically made every single mixtape I've ever had. So,
Okay.
yeah, he put together a whole bunch of stuff for me, put it on YouTube, and lo and behold, I actually came back from a tournament in Spain, had no idea what I was really going to do, started going to like accounting interviews, right? But my sister helped me out and was like, she was the GM at Panera at the time, so she was like, come work for me, you know, we need delivery drivers through the summer. So started helping her out. I think I was there for like 2 months, and then I delivered lunch to the Harlem Globetrotter office, and everything just kind of took off from there. I met with there was a guy named Brett Meister who just ordered lunch one day. He's like the PR guy, and thankfully he was like really kind, walked me through the back of the office, started showing me all the memorabilia and stuff. As I'm walking through, one of my old high school teammates is sitting there in the sales office and just looks up and he's like, Mike? And cool. So yeah, I kind of just walked in there, started just kind of chopping it up with him. He pulls up some of my videos and starts showing it on the screen and whatnot. And the CEO and COO are like walking by the sales office at the same time, like, why is nobody in here working? I'm over here like shooting hoops in their office and on like the little mini hoop. And yeah, we got to talking about it. Like Cole introduced me to him. Jeff Munn took a shot on me, asked me, he was like, you know, are you in shape? You know, we've got a tryout coming up in a couple weeks. Like, I was like, I'll be there. You know, if that's the invite, like I'm there. And yeah, everything just kind of took off from there. I showed up like an hour and a half, 2 hours early to the workout. Was in a full sweat, just making sure I was locked in. And yeah, it kind of hit the road with training camp the following month, and then got to travel the world to play basketball. Like, it was amazing. And I think my full circle moment was I got to come back to Atlanta, play at State Farm Arena, and got like all my friends and family tickets, and like my dad was able to sit courtside. And you know, obviously for me, like, that was a huge moment. Like, my dad was the first person who took me to a Globetrotters game when I was a little kid. So like, for that to come full circle, bro, I was in tears in the locker room. Like, I was a mess. And yeah, that was a very emotional day for me, but like, it was an amazing day. So, I mean, yeah, unfortunately my career ended like right around COVID. I wasn't able to keep up with it. I don't know if I ever told you this, but when we first met, I was actually homeless. So like, my family was kind of dealing with their thing. When I finished school and made it like playing basketball, it was always a thing where like, when are you going to get a real job? So I wasn't necessarily like, I love my family. They've always been there for me. But as far as like the support getting through that was like really tough for me. I was legitimately living in a public storage unit off Highway 9 for about 10 months during that time. And was getting up every day. Champ was helping me out with workouts, and I was just going over there like 2 and 3 times a day to work out with Champ, right? And then I'd be working at Lifetime as a janitor in the back, be folding towels all day. And that was just to keep a gym membership. So like, I could work out for free. I had a shower. I had, you know, everything I needed. But like, that was legitimately like my kind of, whatever you want to call it, you know, my start to like really finding that hunger inside of me and how deep I was willing to go. But man, when I was on the road, we went to Singapore with the Globetrotters. And I just remember we got done with the game, went in the locker room, and we're breaking it down. And right as I lift my arm up, everything in my body locked up, like all at once, every last muscle. And I dropped to the ground. I'm like screaming in pain. The team doctors couldn't figure out what was going on. They tried to get me salt, mustard packets, Gatorade, electrolytes. Nothing was working. So they rushed me to the hospital. The doctors told me I had rhabdo and that my body was basically like eating itself because I didn't have enough proteins and stuff. So like, that was basically my like sign where I was like, I think I'm gonna hang it up after this season. But like, I finished out that tour, and again, thanks to the Globetrotters for giving me the opportunity. But it was like, you know, I did what I set out to do. I played professionally. I got to travel the world, have a great time, meet a whole bunch of different families and people from different cultures, and you know, it was an unbelievable process. But like, you know, I'm very happy with where everything turned out. It's helped me out with my resume. For now, I work in accounting and finance, and got a bunch of like AI side projects that I work on. So like, it's been tremendous.
That's good. I would say I definitely grew up watching the Globetrotters. So like, that experience, what was that part like?
It was unbelievable, man. I walked in there the first day of tryouts, and they were like asking if we could spin the ball on our finger, and I spun it on my middle finger because that was the only finger I like learned to spin it on. And they were like, whoa, 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 whoa. Like, they were joking around with me, but like, realistically, like from their end, people got Photoshop now.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they've got all these different like AI stuff. So like they can take the ball right off your finger, and it's like, oh, the Globetrotter was flicking off the crowd. You know what I mean? So like they taught me how to spin it on my like pointer finger, and then like went from there to start learning how to go up under the arm and like behind the head. And I still can't get behind the back. Some of those guys are ridiculous. Like they're like super skilled. There was one guy, I can't remember his name. I think it was Scooter. But he was like best of the best. I'm talking like he could throw it up like 10 plus feet in the air, catch it, put it on his nose. He'd be dancing with it on his nose. I'm like, bro, I don't even understand how you do that. But he'd move it from his nose to his forehead. It would stop spinning and he'd still be dancing with it. And I'm just like, some of y'all are just unbelievably talented. Like they've been doing it for so many years. It's just like it's second nature to them.
No, that's spinning on your forehead is crazy. I must say, so then what is like one of the most important things you learned while growing up?
So I feel like I've had a lot of people kind of go back and forth with me on this because like obviously you want to work smart, but like my biggest thing that I've always like hung my hat on was work as hard as you can at something because you really never know how far you can take it. And my basketball career is an example of that. Whenever I look back and like I'm having a hard time with even today, I'm studying for the CPA, trying to get that certification. So like I got to think back to, when I was in basketball, some of those days where I was really struggling. I wasn't doing well. My first year at HBU, I struggled excuse my French, struggled my ass off. I was, like I said, I was not ready for Division I. These guys are amazing athletes. They work every day. And it's like they consistently go at it with this just tenacity that like you really got to match or you're going to fall behind. So that's one of the things, I would say like hard work is really what is going to separate you, and having that work ethic to just almost be like delusional work ethic. Like you've got to believe in something that no one else can see, because like only you can tell where you're going to go based off of how much effort you're willing to put in, and how many of those days where you don't want to show up at 5 a.m. You don't want to show up when the strength coach gets pissed off at you and starts telling you y'all are waking up at 4 a.m. the next day. You going to run in the sand, and in the Houston, Texas heat, it was like 100 degrees outside. We burned the bottoms of our feet. It's like those kinds of days will test you. But like when you start adding them up over however long you want to sit there and keep pushing through it, it's just like it really does, like that compounding interest, that it does something to you that just raises you to another level. And like, I really think a lot of people don't take that into account. You see all these YouTubers these days where they're like, oh, I can play against these guys. And it's like, no, bro, like there's levels to this.
People don't understand.
Yeah, it really is different levels. And like, you can't just walk in a gym and just all of a sudden just think you're going to beat a pro. Like if they are still legitimately working out and doing everything that like they need to do as a pro, like they're going to dog you. I don't care how good you are as a hooper at LA Fitness or Lifetime or whatever. Like I'm not saying you can't be a good hooper if you're not playing professionally or you're not playing like in a league somewhere, but like just realistically, there are levels to it, and you'll find out very quickly if you go up against somebody and piss them off enough to where they're like, okay, I'll take this serious. You're going to get beat, like how we were just talking. You're going to get beat 21-0 if you come in there with that type of mentality. But yeah, I mean, that work ethic changes things, man. Like it really does.
No, I agree. I definitely, because I remember sometimes at Mercer during COVID, we had to work out on the football field in Macon, in the Macon heat, and those were never fun. Those were never fun. And so, what is something you would, if you could go back and tell your younger self, what is something you would tell him?
Focus in a lot more. So one of my things was growing up, I think there were a lot of years where I was a little hard-headed. I was a little bit more, and this is probably where my mom will say the stubborn part, where it was just like, I kind of went my own way. Probably wasn't as focused as I could have been. Had I put a lot more time into it, I'm not saying I could have been an NBA player, but I'm saying like I could have probably been a little bit further along earlier, and then it could have extended my career because I could have taken care of my body more. I could have focused on getting in the gym and doing a lot more dribbling drills. definitely could have done a lot more jump ropes or box jumps, because you know this. I was never the athletic guy when you come in the gym. I was not the guy who, like, I think in my life I could probably count on two hands how many times I've actually dunked a basketball. Like, I never got one clean in a game. So it was like, I think it was like a little practice tournament that, and I don't know if it was a practice tournament, but it was like a little 3-on-3 tournament was the only time I ever got a dunk. But like, legitimately never in like a actual league game or anything like that was able to get a dunk. I'm, again, 6'1", so like it's not really like expected of me to do that. But you look at some of the guards today, like John Morant and Russell Westbrook and stuff, and you're just like, they're unbelievable athletes. And that's what I wanted to push myself against. That's why I was so stuck on, like, no, I'm going to go play Division I, because I want to play those guys. I don't think that, you know, I'm not delusional enough to be like, I'm better than them. But I am delusional enough to know that if I can just get in the room with them, see what they work like, I can push myself to work in that same manner. And then that is going to raise my game to the highest potential that I can get to. And so that's kind of where if I really had to talk to my younger self and talk to a lot of these younger kids today, it's just like, man, focus up. Don't listen to all this outside noise. A lot of people will tell you this, that, and the other about where you're going to be or who you are. None of them know. They don't. They really don't. And I don't care what phase you are in your process, what part of it is. You're so much better than you give yourself credit for. But like, a lot of people don't take it that serious young enough to where they start focusing on the diet. They start focusing on, you know, rest days. I think a lot of people get caught up with AAU these days, and it's like, you're playing year round since you were like 8-9 years old now.
Facts.
You're gonna hurt. You're gonna be hurting. Like, you're already treating it like a job. It's not gonna be fun for them by the time they get to high school and college. So, and I'm not saying that's, you know, some people it works for. So others, you really got to focus on those rest days, because otherwise you end up with dinged up bodies, and you're gonna end up hurt. You're gonna end up with a whole bunch of stuff that you really didn't set out to deal with. But yeah, I mean, if you focus up, you start from a young age, really understand there's certain steps that you got to take and really find what you do best. Hone in on that, because you look at some of the guys in the NBA, it's like they do one thing extremely well, maybe two, but like one or two things really well, and then the rest of your game just has to be solid. You got to be well-rounded enough to at least be good in those areas. But like, there's very few superstars out there. You know, not everybody's blessed to be 6'8". Not everybody's blessed to be 7 feet tall. Like, so you really got to step up and figure out what your area is. And when you focus in on that, I'm telling you, like I said, just compound those days.
And so like with all that, with all the younger and everything, what would you tell them about like rankings and things like that? Because I know some people get caught up on like, oh, this person's fifth in the state and I'm not, and blah, blah, blah. What would you tell younger athletes on that?
I would say don't even worry about it. Like, legitimately, don't even worry about it. If you want to look at rankings as kind of a motivator for a game you got coming up, and maybe it's something that, you know, you're gonna get a little, you know, amped up over, that it makes you play better, okay, maybe it's something you want to look at. But don't get caught up in where you're ranked, or, you know, who you're ahead, who you're behind, because like I said, everything can change in 1 year. You could come back after one summer and some guy went from 5'7" to 6'5". And I've seen guys like, you know, I'm just going to throw out Malik Beasley, for example. Watching them back in middle school, coming up to St. Francis, he was a ridiculous, like, growth example. Like, watching, I want to say from like freshman year to sophomore year was a big jump for him. I remember seeing that. But then like sophomore to junior year, it was a whole new person. I mean,
I definitely remember that.
I came back, he was like 6'4", something like that. It's 6'4", 6'5", and he's just dunking everything. And I was like, all right. So he went from like a shooter who was maybe, I don't know, when I first met him, he was like 5'6", 5'7".
Really?
And yeah, I mean, like the amount of time he put in the gym, whether it was, you know, the Vertimax, shooting drills, ball handling drills, like, just completely changed in 1 year. So like, if you look at the rankings, like, he might not have been there, but then all of a sudden, like I said, in just 1 or 2 summers, you can change everything just by focusing on what you can, like, control, focus on what you can actually work on. and just keep your head down, keep consistent. You can do a lot of things, and you'll eventually get to where you want to if you set your mind on it. But don't get too caught up in it to the point where, don't let it destroy you. I feel like too many people let that happen, and they end up with a bad attitude or something.
I agree. And so what is one of your favorite basketball moments, one of your favorite moments just in life, and a moment that you're most proud of?
So favorite basketball moment is it's a tie at this point, because obviously like the Globetrotters game where I was able to get my dad courtside seats and like had a whole bunch of friends and family come out. It was tremendous, but I was tearing up all over the place. But like, I gotta throw this in there just cause I hadn't seen my uncle since I was like 5 or 6 years old, right? I had just come back from Houston to Georgia, hadn't played in a year. We ended up going to Berry College with Oglethorpe, and it's like my first college game I ever started. My first game back home in front of my family, and everybody came out, right? I hadn't seen my uncle in I don't know how many years at that point, but like he's there from New Orleans, and like it was just one of those games where I still to this day, I tell people like I don't know what happened in that game. It was like I was almost like watching myself in this game, because like all I remember was we came out from the locker room, and as I'm coming out, there's this guy in a Where's Waldo outfit standing to my left, right? And all I hear from him is, "Oh, it's the white little Bill," because I had shaved my head bald for my senior year for my dad. And he called me the white little Bill, and I just remember giving him this glare where I was like, all right, I'll show you the white little Bill. And something happened where I just like literally that game, like I don't remember really what happened from start to finish. Obviously, like I can go back and watch the tape, but like it was one of those games where I almost just like blacked out. It was like, I'm just gonna lock in, and I didn't miss a single shot. I came out, it was probably halftime when my teammates started recognizing like, you're having a crazy game right now. And second half just continued, kept knocking down threes, made a few mid-range, got a nice little layup, and should have been and one, but ref wasn't gonna give it to me. It's all good. But I just remember like every single shot that went in, I was finding Waldo.
Yes.
Like, where's Waldo? Yeah. And so by the end of that game though, my coach came over and gave me the stat sheet, and again, just started tearing up because I'm like, holy crap, like that just happened. And I didn't even know that I broke a record or anything. I just thought that I had a great game and was able to take the stat sheet up. I gave it to my dad, and like I remember taking a picture with him. He's holding it. And I was literally tearing up because I'm thinking like, holy crap, my very first start, and I just had a crazy game. D3 or not, it for me, it was like just a big moment. It really held a lot in my heart to be able to do that in front of my family. And, I'm just grateful for Oglethorpe for giving me the opportunity to. And then what was the other part you said? Best moment in
favorite basketball moment, and a moment you're most proud of, and then your best memory.
Okay. I'm going to jump to best memory, because moment I'm most proud of, I'm going to throw that in there. That's why I gave you two. Best memory would probably be, oh man, I got to throw this out there. Houston Baptist, we went to Hawaii for a tournament my freshman year. And my family was always big on like traveling with us, like to go places, especially when we're going to a place like Hawaii. Like, why would they miss out on that? You know what I mean? So that was a trip where we legitimately, like, I got to learn to surf. We were doing practice on the beach. We're sitting there passing around an imaginary basketball, messing around. Like, it was just something where like we were able to kick off a season with they had like the ESPN whatever, I can't remember what it was called, ESPN Takeover or something, where it's like the start of the season. They've just got like 24 hours of ESPN. So it was like 3 or 4 a.m. when our game was on here. But like, man, the love that we ended up getting from like all sorts of people. I was like, y'all watch the game? Like, why did y'all stay up or wake up to watch this game? Like, I didn't even get to play. So I thought it was funny, but I was like, the support that was there, the love that was there was like, it was tremendous. Like, it was one of those things where you know, you start to realize there's a lot more people in your corner than you think, you know, because like as an athlete, you always kind of have that edge on your shoulder where it's like, no, they said I can't. You know, I got to prove them wrong. It's like, who is them? You know, a lot of people from the outside are asking that same question. Who is them? Who are they? You know, who told you this? Who told you can't be that good? And that's something that, you know, it just kind of sticks with you as an athlete where, like I said, it's just a chip on the shoulder. It's like anytime somebody says anything negative to you, it's like, okay, I'm going to add that to it. I'm going to add that to it because, like, it's fuel to the fire. It's not necessarily like now I hate you or anything like that. Like, it's nothing personal, but it's like, oh, okay, you don't think I can do that? Well, guess what? I'm going to figure out how to do it. And then when I do it, I'm going to thank you for it.
Yeah.
Because you gave me that fire. But, yeah, I mean, Hawaii was unbelievable. We were really out there. I mean, all my teammates, shout out to all of them, because it was literally 15 of us in the water learning to surf at the same time. It was one of the funniest things in the world, watching everybody just like take their attempts and just face planting in the water. We actually had one guy who I felt kind of bad. He fell on one of the coral reef, like the piece, I don't even know what to call it, this stuff. Excuse my ignorance on this, but like he got like a piece of the reef like stuck in his leg, and like and I can't even remember what all like he had to do basically, but he had like this large gash in his leg, and I was like, damn man, like, and it's your senior year, so like I mean he thankfully, like, it wasn't bad to the point where he had to sit out too many games or anything like that, but it was just like you could tell it affected him. And man, like that whole trip though, like we played 3 games out there. We were out there for like 6 days, missed the whole week of school. I'm excited for that part.
That's always fun.
But then you know, you come back and like the buses are unloading and you're just like, all right, well, back to reality, you know. But like that still stands as one of my like higher moments of just great memories, because you know, you get the camaraderie of the team, you really get to like build, and you're all growing together. So it's like, you know, you kind of get to turn off the competitive vibe against your own teammates, you know, because like you don't really compete in practice as much when you're on that type of trip as much as you would like when we're home. We're all getting under each other's skin. We're battling, trying to push each other to be better. You want to get the most out of your guys, you know. So it's definitely one of those things where it sticks with you, some of those trips that you end up taking, because like you really never know when the game is over. You really never know when like your last buzzer is.
Thanks.
And that was just one of those weeks where you look back on, you're like, man, I loved that week. I wish I could go back to that.
No, I agree. I definitely had a couple of those, and especially like ended my career at Western. I didn't know if that was the last buzzer, like actually playing or not.
Yep.
And it ended up being, which is unfortunate, but you got to end at some point. So each time someone's on a podcast, they leave a question for the next person. The person left, what's one thing you have been lying to yourself about for most of your life? And have you realized it and stopped it?
So in a basketball perspective.
It could be any perspective.
All right. Well, so I'm just going to go to this one because we already kind of touched on it. But from a basketball perspective, I'm going to be a dunker. Is the one thing that I was lying to myself about. I tried the what are those little toe shoes? The calf raise. You know what I'm talking about?
I have no clue.
Where they have the little platforms on the bottom of them.
I think I've seen them. I don't know what they're called, but I think I've seen them before.
I tried everything to learn how to jump higher. I'm talking like I tried those shoes. I was literally walking around campus in them at one point where you just lace them up. They're literally basketball shoes, but like you're on your toes with the little platform on the bottom, and it's supposed to help with like just staying on the calves. And like, bro, I was legitimately walking around campus in these things. I tried doing as many box jumps and like dunking drills and dunking, you know, programs and stuff. And I just kept telling myself like, I'm going to be a dunker. I'm going to be a dunker. Man, that couldn't have been further from the truth. I just at this point I'm like, I've just kind of accepted that like I don't think my body was built for that. Because every time I got close to it and was like trying to finally get up there and do it consistently, my body just started breaking down or like I hurt something, and I'm like, man, I'm just a shooter.
Yeah.
I'm going to stick to what I do best. I can do this really well at a clip that a lot of people can't. Like, that's good enough for me. I'm good. Outside of that, I think that's a tough one for just life, period. I'm like, what have I been lying to myself about? Man. I feel like that's probably more along the lines of the mental aspect. God, that's tough. So throughout life, I've always kind of been one of those people who, like, I try to remain positive, but like there's still those times that creep in and like you start saying all this negative stuff to yourself to like get yourself going. And I think I probably lied to myself the most about like, oh yeah, no, it just motivates me to like talk trash to myself. But like when I really look back at it, most of the times where I made the biggest strides and like started to get better in areas was because I started talking to myself in more of a like pick yourself up type of manner, rather than like, you know, you start talking trash to yourself, like you start almost getting pissed off because you're like, you feel like you're jawing back and forth with somebody and you're like, man, I'm fighting myself. Am I going crazy right now? So yeah, I would say that's probably the other one. Like just in general, I mean, like, you know, if it's a classroom that I'm struggling with, like I just start saying stuff like, man, I'm so stupid, or like, man, I'm just not good at this, or giving excuses. Like, you know, excuses are never going to get you anywhere. You can either have excuses or you can have results. And like one of the things that always stuck with me was my first high school coach, Coach Hogan, used to tell us, and this has stuck with me for years: excuses are tools of incompetence, and those that use them seldom amount to anything. That has been like my mantra. Anytime I get into a classroom and I'm not doing well, I'm not making excuses. I got to figure out how to get the results I'm looking for. If I get into the gym with somebody and I can't get through a workout, man, I can make excuses or I can get results. Same thing with work now, like accounting, finance. I'm trying to get through the CPA, and like I can make excuses for why I don't have the CPA already, or I can get results. And I feel like you end up kind of becoming what you talk about most. You know, I'm not going to sit here and go too deep into the whole, like, you know, law of attraction and stuff, but like you legitimately attract what you talk about most. You know, if you give yourself good thoughts, if you give yourself strong thoughts, like you will grow. You will see positive things come from that. But if you're constantly beating yourself up and talking down on yourself, like, you're supposed to be your biggest critic. You're supposed to be your biggest supporter. You're supposed to be like, you are the person that makes the biggest changes in your own life. Nobody else is going to do that for you.
I agree.
So like, you know, if you choose to be your critic, well, you also got to choose to be your support. You got to choose to be the person who's going to pick you back up if you're going to criticize something. But you got to learn to criticize yourself in a way that's also still supportive, because you got to understand, like, and it's not that you don't have to be like sensitive about it. You know, there's a lot of people might be like, man, suck it up. But like, realistically, that's not the way to treat everything. Everybody doesn't have a one size fits all for how to deal with that stuff, how to talk about it. So, you know, I think that if I really had to go back and even tell myself back in the day, it's like, man, just be positive, talk to yourself in a much better manner, treat yourself nicer, because you really, you know, your words to yourself are going to matter way more than someone else's words 10 years down the line. You might remember what they said 10 years down the line because you're just like, it's that chip on the shoulder, but your words are going to build you up or break you down a lot faster than what theirs are.
Facts. Well, and then what is a question you would like to leave for the next person?
Oh man, I should have prepared for this one. What do you think the number one determining factor in your success has been? And how would you tell the next person coming up to adjust whatever it is that they're doing so that they can help themselves out of whatever problems they're having?
Okay.
So I mean, I don't know. I just think like that to me is like, you know, if you're dealing with something, you're in the mud and you're trying to fight your way out. What was your change? What was the one thing that you did that changed everything for you? And how can you kind of translate that to somebody else to get them to help themselves out? Because again, nobody's coming to help you.
Facts. Well, I'm going to ask you to answer that also.
Oh man. All right. All right. So I already mentioned champ was a huge determining factor in that.
Mm-hmm.
Probably closer to my senior year and going into semi-pro, it was a huge change there. But the big change prior to that, even Coach Case back at HBU took me under his wing for a summer where I legitimately, like, I got in there, I picked his brain as much as I could. I had him training me, giving me workouts, giving me shooting workouts. This dude was the best shooter I've ever seen in my life. Like, I flat out had never seen somebody just absolutely deteriorate the defense with every, like, he would just demand you to play at your best, and even then, you're not stopping him from getting his shot off.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, he won a championship at Kansas in 2008 behind Mario Chalmers and them. But he stepped in to be our coach, and I legitimately was like, I need to learn from this guy. Like, I see what he can do, and he doesn't even work out like us every day. Like, we're in the gym training. We're still, like, we're supposed to be the Division I college athletes, and he's our coach. Like, he doesn't even get to go through some of the stuff we do. That's not to say he wasn't still working out and shooting and training and stuff, but it's like, he's not doing the same stuff he was back then. And if he can do this now, I was like, man, I can't even imagine what it would have been like to play you back then. So that freshman year I got done at HBU, I was like, I'm just not ready for this. And I was really questioning a lot. He took me under his wing, got me eating right. I lost like 30 pounds. I was like 198, 199 pounds, something like that, at the end of freshman year. And then start of my sophomore year, I was like 169 pounds.
That's big time.
And it is, but I didn't necessarily do it the correct way. I lost too much too quick, and I ended up coming back sophomore year, and I broke my rib, and it punctured my lung. But through that summer, though, he gave me all these different workouts of, like, nothing but net from here. You got to make 7 in a row. You got to make 7 in a row front rim, 7 in a row back rim, 7 in a row off the glass. Just gave me a whole series of workouts that I just went in there, and I literally kept a notebook of it. And I went through there, and by the end of the summer, I had put up over 145,000 shots that I had made. Not just taken, because, like, I was in there some nights, and some of the coaches will tell you, like, the strength coach even said this on one of the podcasts we did a few years ago. He remembers he came in one night and was checking on me because it was like 10 o'clock, and I'm just getting some shots up. And then he comes back in, because he's usually the first person in there at like 6, 7 a.m., something like that. And he's walking back in the morning like, Mike, what in the world? Like, you're in the same outfit you were in last night. Did you go to bed? And I was like, no, I didn't, because I'm in here like I was ticked off. I could not finish this workout. Like, Coach Case gave me this workout that I was like, I have to finish this. Like, and if you can't make whatever in a row, I'm not going home. I'm not going to sleep. I didn't earn that. So, like, that was one of the big things for me, was like learning to adjust the way that I saw my workouts to where it's like, now you earn what you get. Like, you can't just step into the gym and expect somebody to give you the respect. You have to earn that. And yeah, that whole entire summer was just an absolute grind, where there were several nights that I was in that gym from night to morning, and then I'd just go shower up and go to class, and I'm like, I'd be exhausted, but like, that was what my younger self wanted, you know. Like, if I look back at Mike at 5 and 6 years old, I wanted to play basketball. I saw Tracy McGrady, Kobe Bryant, Steve Nash. Like, those are the guys I looked up to, and I was like, if I want to be like them, I've got to train like that. And so I just took every opportunity to try and ask as many questions as I could to the guys that I knew, like, are the best at something. If you're the best shooter, if you're the best, you know, you're the best guy on the team, you got the best work ethic. I was trying to find any way to ask anybody or watch as much as I could to figure out what I could take from them and just go and implement that into my own game. So yeah, I mean, that was definitely something where I would say got me out of that funk. And I still didn't necessarily get the time that I wanted sophomore and junior year at HBU, but I definitely made a name for myself to where they understood, this dude's really working. He's here to work with us. I tried to keep a good attitude and just be there to be supportive, because I know we got guys that are better than me. I know we got guys that are bigger than me. I know we got guys that are way more athletic than me. And it was just like, it was something where I was like, well, if I'm not going to play, I'm at least going to push them to the point where they're ready for the game. And I'm not going to let them drop that level that they need to work at for even a second. I don't care if I got to die on the court trying to push you to get there. Like, that was my mindset, was like, no, you're not giving your best. I'm going to pull it out of you. Or I'm going to say something to get you ticked off, and you're now going to be like focused on trying to get me to shut up. Like, you're going to earn me shutting up.
Facts. Well, that's all the questions and everything that I had for you. Now I want to open up for any conversations, any questions you have, or anything you might want to talk about.
So I didn't get to see as much once you got off to college. What was the difference, would you say, from, like, obviously you had a great career at Cambridge. What would you say was that difference from when you left Cambridge to go to Mercer? And also, if you had to go back and talk to yourself about kind of, I know you went through some injuries and ups and downs. What are some things that you feel like you could have done differently that would have helped you out?
I think the first question, I think the difference between high school and going to college was the work ethic, that not necessarily the work ethic, but the speed of the game and who you're playing against, that you have to every day show up in practice and actually have to dominate in practice, and you can't just like mess around and chill and do that, because like in high school, some practices I would relax and not do much and not play defense and just have fun. In college, at least especially in the summertime, everything has to be full speed, everything has to be proving yourself and doing that all over again. Even no matter how good you were or what stats you had in high school or what you did, it's about what you can do now and not what you did in the past.
Right.
And then I think throughout the years, I think at the start of my injuries, I think I should have done that better and not actually just try to play through them all. That's why whenever I tell...
You're saying rest or...
Rest, yeah, just take time off. Rest, basically. So whenever I tell my athletes or people that ask me questions about injuries, I always say, listen to your body. If your body's telling you you shouldn't be playing, you shouldn't be playing. Because my freshman year, when we were in conference play, I played the game, but every other moment of outside games, I was in a boot. So I couldn't really walk outside of games unless I had adrenaline.
Right.
So if that's the only time I could actually move, I shouldn't have been playing.
Right.
So I always think about, like, maybe if I would have done that little portion of like my first foot injury differently, maybe I wouldn't have got hurt 3-4 times after that. And maybe I would be healthier now than I am. And but I think that's the biggest thing that I would say, if I had to look back on, was that moment in time, really respect what my body was telling me instead of just going off of what the coaches are saying. You can do it, you can push through it, you got to push through injuries, you got to do that. You don't have to. Especially if you're good enough and people like you and you're there, you don't have to push through the injury. And people just have to, either they're going to understand that and be actual good coaches, or they're not, and they're not good coaches and not the place you should be. You have to, biggest thing is listen to your body. I learned that, and unfortunately it made them not like me as much at the end because I got injured a lot, but I learned that you have to listen to what your body's telling you and not just what people are telling you.
Oh yeah, because it'll scream at you too.
Yes.
It'll let you know.
Yes, it will.
So did you spend a lot of time in the training room at all?
I probably spent as much time in the training room as I did training
Okay.
to play basketball in college.
Okay.
Because I didn't get to train any summers because I had surgery every single summer my first 3 years in college. So I didn't get to do any training. I'd come back home, I'd go to champs, we'd do rehab, and then I'd get some shots up, but I didn't get to actually get better.
Right.
I think I got better just off of learning the game and things like that, but if I would have been able to actually put work into my game, I think I could have went a lot farther and done a lot more things than I did. But I think that's the just biggest key for me, was being in the training room, just to get healthy and be able to walk and be able to run up and down the court and play and have fun instead of actually working on my game. It was more so, how can I get my body to be aligned with what my mind wants to do.
So who was the best player that you think you've played with? And I'm going to also ask, because Champ asked me this back when we were training and you guys were in high school, you, Eric, Matt, all them. So who was the best guy that you trained with as well.
Ooh, best guy I trained with, best guy I played with. I will go best guy I trained with. I feel like that's a little easier. I think the best guy I trained with who ended up being one of my best friends was Matt.
Okay.
I think his work ethic and what he did after, we got to college and everything, becoming the player he is now, getting to being a top 10 player in the country and things like that. I think he's the best player I definitely trained with back then, even though I feel like we all were really good in our own respects. Best person I played with. That's a tough one because there's been good players in different ways.
Okay.
Who is the best player I played with?
Anybody that just stood out, that just shut the gym down when you played?
Together? Or like
together, against?
Against?
Oh, okay. Anybody you
against
stepped in and you were like, man, this guy is that guy.
There was a guard on Sanford. I don't remember his name or anything, but he, honestly, because I had to pick up full court in college. He was probably the hardest person I had to guard full court. Okay. Him and then Isaiah Miller. He never got tired. I never understood it. He played a whole game and not get tired. And I'm tired because I had to pick you up full court. Yep. But he'd play 40 minutes and everything would be at the same speed. I think whenever he got into the gym, because he was bouncy, he could shoot, he could pass, and he would play defense and pick up full court also. And the fact that he didn't get tired ever, I think it was bamboozling to me because I didn't understand that. Because like we played, it'd be like 38 minutes in the game, 2 minutes left, and he'd come down and cock it back and dunk it on somebody, and it's like, how are you not tired? Yeah. It's like whenever I have fast breaks, I can dunk, but I'm tired, so I just lay the ball up. So I would have to say, if I had to name someone, it'd be Isaiah Miller. I think he's playing overseas somewhere now, but he's probably the person that I would say impacted the game the most in my eyes while I was playing.
Okay. And it's funny you say that too, because so when Champ originally asked me this, when I was working out with y'all, I said you. I was like, I think he's got the highest potential. Now, like you said, I didn't necessarily get to work out with Matt that much. I only think I worked out with Matt maybe 2 or 3 times before like I ended up moving away and just like, he kind of took over his workouts and like legit like made some big changes, because when the next time I saw him, I was like, dude, this guy's different. Like he was one of those ones where I told Champ, I said, like, I think he can be really good, but when I first met him, he seemed very shy or like standoffish with his game. Like he didn't seem like he had the strength there. He didn't seem like he really had the oomph, you know what I mean? Like you gave me problems because you had the fire, you had like the desire, like you were in the gym, and like it was one of those things where I was like, no, I think Kamar can do it, because like he's got the athleticism, he's got the ability to shoot, he can handle the ball, plays good defense. Like there's a lot of your game translated to the next level where I was like, I even got to say, I shot myself in the foot with the way I looked at Matt, where I was like, no, he really changed tremendously from that first time that I worked out with him to now. I'm looking at him and I'm just like, I didn't see that from the first day. You know what I mean? And like, that's kind of where I even tell people now, I'm like, your first kind of interaction with somebody, like how I said earlier, I'm like, don't let someone else's critic determine where you're going to go. Like if I determined where Matt was going to go, he would have just stayed that same player. He took it under him, like on his own shoulders, and said, I'm going to get stronger, I'm going to get faster, I'm going to get more bouncy. And bro, like I just remember seeing the film when he switched over to, was it Pace? And I was like, this dude's dunking everything.
He was a whole different player.
He was driving through the lane,
and I was
bumping people
so
off.
mad.
And yeah, I was like, all right, so I didn't see this at all, but like he took that sophomore year Matt that I met, and by the time, I don't even know if it was senior year, I was like, by the end of junior year, I'm looking at him like he's a whole different person. Just that 1 to 2 years there, it was like he worked out, he made sure he was in the gym, he was getting his shots up, getting the reps in, getting the workouts, like the lifting in, and I was just like, that's the prototype that a lot of kids should look up to, because that is the type of change that can happen when somebody really commits themselves to it. And man, shout out to him because like I saw some of I think he was on ESPN Top 10 at one point with one of his summer league. And yeah, he's been getting buckets out there. So I mean, I don't know. I hope he gets to finally get that shot in the NBA. I think he will if he really develops the jump shot better. But that's really the only thing at this point where I'm just like, if he could really really shoot that thing, man.
It's all about opportunity.
Oh yeah, because he's definitely gotten much better. Like he can shoot well, but like as far as NBA level, you really got to be able to knock that thing down. And then he's got the athleticism, he's got the body. Like that was one of the things where like I like I said, I genuinely thought, I was like, if Kamar stays healthy, that's the guy who I think can really step up. But man, Matt made some huge changes.
Facts.
I guess outside of that, if I was to ask you what, from an outside of basketball perspective, what was the toughest part for you to transition from playing basketball to now where I know you're still coaching and around the game, but like what was the toughest transition from playing to now kind of real life hits and you're working and not necessarily able to work out as much as you wanted to?
I think the biggest thing from transition from playing all the time to not playing, I mean, I still play a lot, but to not be doing it for real was the realization that it was over. I think that's the biggest thing. Is I started working at this job that was called Technipower Staffing, just to get a job, learn some things, blah, blah, blah. But I think that's when I realized, basketball's over. I think that was honestly the hardest thing, was like the realization, like, this isn't what I'm going to be doing for the rest of my life. And now I have to figure out what kind of the rest of my life is going to look like. Because like if you learn that earlier in college, you get internships and blah, blah, blah. You can get your life set on to do whatever you want to do. I didn't do that. So I've been having to figure that part out after realizing basketball was over, which, sometimes it's been tough to figure out what I want to do, which thankfully now I've kind of figured that part out. But to answer, I think the realization of it being over is kind of what I would say is the biggest thing that I had from playing to not playing, trying to play professionally.
Is there any guys in the area that you still kind of keep up with from, other than like, I'm assuming you still talk to Matt and stuff or see him whenever he comes back, but like, is there any of the guys that you still kind of keep up with that you're like able to kind of train with or work out with? Because obviously now that you're coaching, like you're looking at the game from a different perspective, right? So like, is there any of the guys that you know of that you're like, I can help that, I can do, certain things for your game when you get back here in the summers or whenever their off season is? Do you get in with Champ, or do you get into the gym with any of them or hit them up about like doing some type of training?
I do not. I more so just keep up with everyone as we're friends, and then if they have questions, I answer questions. I don't like to overstep with people's training and things like that, especially since we're cool. Like if you have something you want to know or want to see it from a different view, that's cool. But if you don't, we're friends. That's the main thing. I say right now, mostly I'll go to Champs. There's some people there that I help out when I'm there. Whenever I train or go shoot, I'll give them tips and things like that, or what I see in their game and different things like that. But the old crew, we all kind of just friends. We hang out whenever everyone's here. We'll go hoop, that type of thing. But mostly whenever I go back to Champs, I try to help the youth, try to give them what I see and what I see what they're doing, and different tips of how to get by people or play defense or guard people, or I'll play and let them see what someone who's really good looks like and how I attack things or how I play the game and have fun, and not just doesn't have to be all serious and everything has to be, I need to just do. No, you can enjoy the game while playing. I think that's the biggest things I do now with coaching, because I don't want to just always be a coach. I want to be a friend also, more than just coaching people all the time. That'll get boring real fast.
I hear you. So there's no desire to necessarily do like something like what Champ's doing and train some of these guys?
I would love to. I think that would be really fun to train people and see like individual success, like Champ saw us get better throughout the years. I think that would be really cool to do. Right now, I don't necessarily have the time necessarily for it. I've been trying to just, get the Cambridge kids as good as they can. I train them 2 times a week in the morning. And then also just kind of figuring out my life and figuring out what things are going to look like and learning how being a teacher is and getting all that set.
Yep.
I think after I get more of a groove of what my life is and my brand and all this and get everything in kind of an order, I would definitely like to start training people, whether it's kids, whether it's older people, no matter what, just to get better in basketball, because I do feel like I do have a lot of knowledge and little tricks that can help people. I just think it's about finding the right time to do it to where it's not draining on me.
Right. Do you have any kids right now that you're like, he could give me a run for my money?
No. No. I'm sorry. There's no one over
No young Kamars coming up?
There's no one that can be a run for my money. No.
None of them having their jersey retired or anything?
Not right now. Not right now, unfortunately.
Fair enough.
Hopefully soon. Hopefully some people will get there. It's just some people, they need to change their mindset towards it a little bit more and work a little harder and understand that, it's not going to be given to them.
Yep.
And they need to kind of assert their dominance into basketball and loving basketball themselves and not sometimes take it as a joke and think it's funny, but it's not.
Because you played 4 years varsity, right? Okay. Yeah, see, I got 2 years varsity, and my first 2 years were JV. I was half and half my sophomore year, but my freshman year, my coach literally told us, he was like, I don't put freshmen on varsity. Like, you literally have to be like that guy. And that's where I told you, I was like, honestly, if we were to put our careers in high school next to each other, it's like, I can shoot somewhat, but like, bro, I was so slow. I was even less athletic than when we met. And I just, man, I don't know. Something about your game when I was watching you growing up through high school, I was like, man, like, he's got a shot. And, I wish that you hadn't gotten injured as much. Because, man, I wanted to come see you play at Mercer a couple times, but I'm in Houston and kind of battling through getting back on my feet as well.
I didn't know.
But man, if you ask Champ, I'm sure he'd even tell you. Like, I legitimately was like, I don't know. I feel like Kamar's got it. Like, Eric's a dog, you're a dog, TJ, or Toot, whatever we want to call him at this point. I'm like, I never really called him TJ. So when Champ started telling me TJ, I was like, who is that?
I was the same thing. I've always called him Toot.
And then Matt, I think that's basically the main 4, I would say.
And Khalid.
You and Khalid. And yeah, so like that's basically the 5. Yeah, that's the starting 5 high schoolers that I was like, yeah, y'all are all like same group. Y'all work out together. You train together. I was like, man, you guys really pushed each other day in and day out. You even talked some shit to the old head and, let me know, like, I'm on your tail.
We would get at you. Yes.
And rightfully so, though. Like, that's where, like, I told Champ day in and day out, I was like, no, like, I love their fire. I love their passion. Obviously, I'm just, like, I'm fiery myself. Y'all know this. Like, but it's just, like, it was never something where, like, I didn't want to take it personal because I'm like, I know y'all are growing. I know y'all are coming up, and you should be taking the torch from me. That's what I was telling him. I was like, bro, like, because even when I talk to him now, I'm like, I'm not the best guy that you ever trained. Like, you got plenty of other guys that you trained that are like, even if they never do anything with the game, I'm humble enough to know who was actually better than me, especially in certain aspects of the game. Because like I said, I'm not athletic, so like pretty much all of y'all could dunk. And y'all are in high school, and I'm like, yeah, that's nice. It looks fun. But like that was literally one of the things where I was just, I told Champ, I was like, I can't wait to see these guys grow up and see what they end up doing. And like, man, I hadn't kept up with Eric in a while, but I see him playing overseas. Is Toot playing overseas now?
Not right now.
Okay. I thought I saw something about him going. And then what was Devin? Devin Peterson.
Plus, he plays on a men's league with me right now.
He was another one where he was playing at Mount Pisgah. I want to say he was like 8th grade or 9th grade when I first played against him, and he was playing varsity at like 8th grade. And like, he wasn't very tall, but like, he was literally one of the guys where you're like, you don't expect this shorter kid to come in the game and just start dogging people. But I was
Mm-hmm.
like, all right, hold on. Somebody's got to guard him, because like the rest of his team is decent, but then all of a sudden you see this like 8th or 9th grader and he's just like killing us, and I'm like, who is this kid?
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, watching all y'all grow up, even Devin being like closer to my age, I was just like, man, it's been nothing short of just a blessing to see some of y'all come up and like really take your career under your wing, and like take your like, or not under your wing, but take it on like your shoulders and really like go where you wanted to go. You know what I mean? Like whether you want to give it the props or not, through injuries or not, you played Division I through injuries. You know what I'm saying? Like I couldn't even say that for myself. If I was injured, I'm injured. Like I'm not playing through it. Like no, it was like you still pushed yourself to a certain extent where it's like you got to give that respect. You know, you gotta still understand you did something with it, even through injuries, even through the setbacks and stuff. Where like I know mentally you're beating yourself up over it. I know you are.
Yeah.
But, I guess that gives me one last question. Mental strength. What rating would you give that in the game if you were to 0 to 10? As far as like how much mental strength versus physical strength it takes to really get yourself to push through those moments and really get yourself to like the full potential.
I'd say that's like an 8 to 10. I think mentally is a big thing, because you can be the greatest athlete in the world, but if you're mentally not okay, you're not going to be the greatest athlete in the world. I think figuring out ways to understand that, you know, when you're not okay, it's okay that you're not okay, and to be able to talk to people and get help and go to a therapist or do things like that, or just talk to your friends and actually be real about how you're feeling. I think that that's a part of the game that people don't necessarily take serious, and they're just like, I'll be fine, it's okay. When realistically, if you say that for 3 years straight, I'll be fine, you're not fine for those 3 years. And instead of just going to talk to someone, that'll help you. I feel like that helped me throughout my process in college. I went to talk to a therapist because I was like, I feel like I should quit basketball because I can't do certain things, or I'm not where I want to be, blah, blah, blah. But I think that, you know, people who hoop or people who play any sports or just people in life need to understand that it's okay to talk to someone, whether it's a therapist, whether it's your family, whether it's your friends, whether it's a stranger on the street. And if you have something going on inside, talk to them. Talk to anybody, because it's better to get it out and get it off your chest so you can decompress instead of just holding it in forever, feeling like I'm so strong because I'm holding this pain in. That doesn't do anything. It honestly hurts you more than you think when you hold something in for years, or whether it's small, whether it's big. Something small, if you hold on for 3 years, it will become something big. So just whether it's something you need to tell somebody, whether it's something that you have going on that you just need to get out, I say talk to someone. No matter what. I almost want to say it's a 10, but because it's not realistic, but 8 I would definitely say is where mentally can mess up your whole basketball career if you don't take that serious.
That's fair. I totally agree. Yeah, I was actually just talking with Sarah and a couple friends last night about this, where I was like, being in your head is a dangerous place to be. Like if you can't get it out, you're just bottling something up that's going to come out in a way that like you never intended for it to. It's going to come out on somebody or in the wrong place in a game, or like even if we're talking outside the game, it's like I said, it's going to come out at the wrong person or the wrong time, where it's like that wasn't meant to come out there. You know what I mean? Yeah, so I couldn't agree more. Yeah.
Well, I appreciate you for coming. Know you're busy. I know you travel. I know you got a lot of things to do. So I appreciate you for coming and hopping on the podcast and just having a fun conversation with me.
Anytime. I appreciate you having me, bro.
Man.
Yep.
Oh, my knees.